You're listening to the Talking Walls fans' reactions for the 24-25 Premier League season.
Well, game's just finished here. Frustrating does not even cover it. Just what a ridiculous decision at the end of the game. How that is not offside, I will never know. Bernardo Silva, every single corner they got, his whole game plan was to disrupt Sarr and interfere with him. So if that's all he's trying to do at every single corner, how is he not offside? How is he not interfering with play when his whole strategy is to put Sarr off? And it's exactly the same as the decision that we had against West Ham last season, when I think it was Chirivella was stood in basically exactly the same position, yet that one is offside and no goal, and this one isn't. And you've got to feel for the players. They've given a hell of a shift over 90 minutes, and yet they're just robbed at the very end for a goal that never should have stood. I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous. But it's always the top teams that get given these decisions, and that's the difference, and that's why everyone's getting so frustrated with it. But that aside, I thought we played well. Wasn't really a surprise to see him go to back five, given recent results and recent performances. I think he kind of had to. I presume there was an injury or something wrong with Johnston, seeing as he wasn't in the squad at all. But Jose Sarr, I'm not his biggest fan, but the saves that he made today were absolutely world class. One in particular at the end of the first half, he must have seen that so late. Yeah, he stuck out an arm and stuck it round the corner, and really, if it wasn't for his saves, it would have been game over much sooner. But the other frustrating thing is we should have gone 2-0 up. I mean, as Semedo's running through, you never think he's going to score, bless him, because he was world class today. Grealish got a little bit of luck out of him, but the other two, Doku and I forget the name of the other winger, but got no change out of Semedo at all. They didn't get past him a single time all afternoon. He was absolute quality today, as I have to say was pretty much all the back five really, all putting their body on the lines, doing the right things at the right time, cutting the space down. Just really solid performance really from all 11 and the substitutes. But our first goal was brilliant, great ball out to Semedo, and the way he just bent the ball round, and it was great to see two players running onto it for a change. Kuna front post, Larson back post, and when you get men in the box and a good delivery, that's what happens. And we had a few breaks where you thought, I think maybe something's going to happen here, maybe someone's going to get on the end of it and we're going to create something, but didn't have a lot of the ball, as you would expect, but just defended really, really well. Seems like it's a good job the set piece coach has gone, get my words out, because we defended, other than obviously the one they score right at the end, which as I say shouldn't have been given, we defend them really well today. So lots of positives going forward, but I'm pretty sure I said that after the Liverpool game. It feels very similar, good performance, ultimately a loss. Got to take this into Brighton next week now and get a result there. But yeah, just so frustrating with the way it ended.
So it's finished. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Man City 2. Sam jumping on the channel again to give you some key points of the game, the performance. So I'm just getting straight into it. Obviously, the turn of the back five today. A lot of fans have been calling this for a while. It wasn't just the fact that we're playing Man City that the back five needed to come in anyway. Due to previous performances, particularly defensive, but it made a big impact. I really liked it today. Dawson in the middle of the back three completely dominated Haaland in terms of the back three. Man-to-man marking, he's done that the season before. As soon as he sits on him, he struggles to make runs in behind. Haaland had maybe one chance in the second half, but Dawson kept him relatively quiet. Santi Bueno played really well as well, I thought. Won lots of headers on the corners, defending set pieces. Man City had 18 corners in that game, and we defended pretty much a lot of them pretty well, obviously apart from the one towards the end. But in terms of sacking the defensive set piece coach, looking like a good decision that now, because of how well he looked, far more organised on set pieces. Obviously that was the midfield three again, came in of Lamine, Gomez and Andre. Start with the midfield three again. It's good. It does set us up defensively quite well, but there is times, I've saying this before, there is times where I just think it kills us. There was opportunities where the ball breaks one of the midfielders, and because it's João Gomez or it's Andre or it's Lamine, they struggle to get us up the pitch and they carry us 30-40 yards of the pitch, and then we couldn't get out, and then we're defending too deep for too long, with basically long periods of the game. So there is opportunity. Obviously today against Man City, you can get away with it, but if we go into other games, I don't think we should be setting up like that. Tomador came in at half time. I think he made a big impact as well. He created a good chance when he played Carlos Forbes in, which he tried to square across the last and didn't quite get there. But I thought Tomador was pretty good when he came on. It was a difficult game to come into, fast paced, particularly midfield, and he made a bit of an impact in terms of that he wasn't being carried at all. like saying that on the, I think all the subs which made impact in the game. Carlos Forbes is, again, for me, I still think he should be starting a little bit. I want to see him with Kuna and Larson up front, and maybe a midfield two of Lamina, maybe Andre, or one of those two either in there. I think there's something to offer him definitely from the start. And I think, to be honest, at the end on the result, I know there was a possession stats and certain stats say, and it was a lot of Man City on the ball, but as a performance from Wolves, that wasn't a bad performance at all. A lot of Wolves fans will be saying that as well. We defended really well for long spells of the game, periods of the game. We didn't look after it that well when we was in possession in periods, but we had some good counter-attacking moves, and we linked up with Larson quite well more than we have done in recent games. So there is signs there. If we'd played the back five from the start of the season, we probably would have had more points than we've got now. I'm more certain of that, really. I wouldn't be surprised if we had done. Next up, we've got Brighton away, another tough play. We always struggle at Brighton away. I think the back five should be coming in again, but I also think it should be a midfield two City midfielders, and you're playing a winger up there with Larson and Kuna. That you can't be playing those midfield three against some games. It will be too negative, and we will miss some of those games. So it's some positives to take from the game. It's not all negative. Obviously, it's heartbreaking taking it at the end to concede when you've got to work so hard towards it. You probably deserve a point. But the last point I'm trying to make before I go, Jose Sarr. I've been a big critic of Jose Sarr at times for when his decision making, coming for things, flapping at things, kicking distribution. Today, obviously, clearly, Gary Neil Cutler, the goalkeeper coach, said to him, just focus on his shot stopping, and that's all he's worried about. And that's what he did really well. So he stuck his claim for the shirt. Now for me, now it's his shirt to lose again. He should be back in there. He made 3 really good saves in that game, like quality saves, kept us in it for a long period of the game. So well done to Jose Sarr. It's a good comeback, good response to being dropped from the team for a while. Hopefully he can kick on against Brighton, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Thanks for joining me. What a sickener. I tell you, watching Wolves is bad for your heart and bad for your blood pressure. Oh, what a way to lose it. Controversial way, and right at the death. Every man defended like Trojans. We still await our first clean sheet in ages, and everybody's going to be talking about that controversial winner by John Stones. But as I say, they defended, every man laid his body on the line, and we couldn't really have despised Wolves a point. Even the most one-eyed, biased Man City fan couldn't deny that Wolves deserved a point. But it's ironic that it was when we were on the break, when we were going forward, and Guedes lost the ball, arguably a foul, and they broke, and they had a sequence of corners, and it was the last of these 3 corners that Stones rose and headed the winner. But was Bernardo Silva interfering with play? I remember early in the season, I was at a game against Molineux. I think it may have been West Ham in April, and it was we scored what we thought was an equaliser right at the death, and one of our players was on the line, and it was disallowed for offside. So we've been done in by VAR again. But what can you say? The performance deserved a point. What a goal we scored. It was a great move by what's his name, Santiago Bueno to Semedo. First touch. They had no answer to that, but we gave them too much space for the equaliser. But what can you say? We await a win, but onwards and upwards. Come on, Wolves.
Well, that's a tough one to take. Wolves losing out through a last-minute winner 2-1 to top of the table now, Manchester City. Really disappointing. Just gutting, really. It was a valiant performance. Unremarkable, I think, fair to say. We were pretty much camped outside our penalty area for the majority of the 90 minutes. But a return of the back 5 gave us a return to some solidity and a return to some decent shape, which is what Wolves needed after some of the pretty poor performances we've seen defensively, particularly after the Brentford game. Coming back into it, I thought after the international break, bit of a reset. Maybe we can get some sort of momentum going. And obviously last season we beat City 2-1 at home to sort of kickstart our season. Fortunately, it just wasn't meant to be today. Jose Sarr coming back in goal, I thought had an excellent game. Johnson out injured, I think is what was said. Look, I think Sarr has made mistakes. I think he can be an erratic goalkeeper, but what I like about him is his command of his penalty area and his shot stopping. And he did that today. He was very commanding, dealt very well with the aerial threats. The City put in so many crosses, so many corners, which I think we dealt with well. And I think that was due in part to Jose Sarr being particularly good in the air. And again, making some really, really good stops. Again, Savinho, Silva, were the two ones that stick out to me. Also, there was one in the second half. I can't quite remember who hit it. I think it was Ruben Dias as well. But just a really good performance from him. I think the whole back three, honestly, were really good. Bueno, Totti, Dawson, all combining pretty well, especially for the first goal, which was an excellent bit of wing play. Nelson Semedo, look, he's an excellent wing back. I think full-back he's a bit limited, but when you give him the freedom to get forward, he's such an asset for us. And it's a world-class cross across the face of the penalty area. And Larsson, again, has had a really solid start to the season. I've been impressed with him. Comfortable finish, tidy finish, and again, he was a real positive for us. I think Cunha really struggled, but Larsson led the line well. Some nifty bits of link-up play here and there. Didn't really get to do much because we were just so withdrawn. But again, look, going back to the back three and Sarr, I think those are the highlights. Dawson, magnificent again. 2 seasons, how many games in a row now has he kept Haaland quiet? It seems to be Haaland's kryptonite, which is good for us. And it's good to see a return of the sort of defensive solidity in the organisation that we've been used to of Wolves teams in previous seasons, for the most part, anyway. Midfield was disappointing. Midfield, I think we really struggled to keep possession, and I think that's obviously why Gary O'Neill brought Tommy Doyle on in the second half. I think Andre, muted performance, some good tackles here and there, but very poor in possession. And Doyle, I think, offered up something different. I think his pass to Forbes, I think, could have honestly led to a goal if Forbes was a little bit more direct. There was Gomez that was near and around the penalty area he could have passed to. Little bit, slightly poor decision making, I think, in the end. But I think Doyle showed that he can offer something different with his passing range and his ability on the ball as well, just kept things ticking. But honestly, first half and second half, we rarely got out. And I think that was the biggest issue for us. We didn't seem to have any real attempt at getting forward. There was even points in the second half where we maybe could have got at City and we sort of opted to recycle possession rather than maybe try and nick a winner. So yeah, a little bit disappointing in that regard. I thought overall it was a valiant performance. We put a lot into it, but again, no points, and I think that's the main thing. The second City goal, or the first City goal, first of all, I mean, there's nothing really you can do much about that. Maybe some people will say, oh, Sarr got a hand to it, he should have saved it. No, I think it's just an unbelievable shot. But again, it's another goal that we've conceded outside the box, which is a little bit of concern. I think today the issue was, again, City were getting a lot of shots off outside the box. We were too slow to close down. And I think that's harmed us this season, and it did again today. The second goal, controversy around it. For me, it's a goal. Okay, I don't think Silva is blocking Sarr's line of vision. My issue is that we had the exact same goal disallowed last season with Max Kilman's header being ruled out because Truewa was adjudged to have been blocking Fabianski's line of vision. I think both of those are goals, but one of them was given and the other one wasn't. And that's what frustrates me, is the inconsistency in the officiating. If you're going to give one, give both. Don't give one and don't give the other. 2 separate seasons, I know, but it's difficult. It's difficult, and it's draining because the rules seem to change per game. It's frustrating. But honestly, I don't think you can argue with the result. I think whilst we were brave and we were committed and the team got stuck in and showed a lot of spirit, which is really good. Again, when you're camped outside your penalty area for 90 minutes against a team as good as City, eventually it's going to break, and it was just painfully predictable what was going to happen. And this team needed a break. They needed a lucky break. We needed that point. We haven't got it. And we have Brighton next week, which we can hopefully, maybe get something from. But I feel bad for this team because they just need something. I feel like they're not getting anything at the moment, and it's not a good sign when these sorts of things aren't going your way. But yeah, spirited performance, but again, no points, which is a real disappointment.
Wolves won Manchester City 2 at Molineux today. 1 win in 18 Premier League games. That's half a season. Half a season. Wolves almost have won 1 match in half a season of Premier League games, stretching back to the middle of March last year. 1 point from 8 games this season so far. And they lost today in heartbreaking fashion. But did anyone think it wouldn't come? I think everyone was convinced that City would score at some stage, because we have a team at the moment that have a weak mentality and have an inability to see things through. And you might think I'm being harsh here, but that is the fact of the matter. They've conceded a set piece in the 96th minute, having defended very well all game. And I can't excuse it. It's a corner. If Manchester City cut you open late on, yeah, you go fine. But also, you then have to look at it from the point of view of the fact that we've been cheated again by VAR, by the officials. Tawanda Chirera against West Ham last season, you saw it, everyone saw it, I went mad over it, everyone went mad over it. How's that any different to what Bernardo Silva did today, except the slimy rat got out of the way just before the ball is headed by John Stones? That doesn't matter. He's still impeding with Jose Sa. He's still standing 3 or 4 yards offside. It's a joke. It's an absolute disgrace how that goal is given at the end there. All we want to see is consistency. And if you are going to disallow Max Kilman's equaliser against West Ham in April, then you've got to disallow that goal today. If that was up the other end, and that was Bellegarde on Ederson, and Dawson headed in, do you really think that goal would have stood? Come on. Like I said, always cheating with that club. Honest to God, it's embarrassing. It's a disgrace. The league, no, it's a foregone conclusion who's going to win the league every year. It's consistent. It's bullshit. Except this year, Wolves might go down and they'll only have themselves to blame. And, well, overall today, I just want to say, I sound very negative here, it was a really spirited performance and a decent fight back from Brentford, but at the end of the day, there's been so many nearly moments under this manager. So many. And it's bordering on boring now for me, to be honest. So Man United the first day of last season, we played so well, lost. There's so many of them. West Ham last season at home, played really well with a depleted team, lost. You could go on and on and on. Last minute, Man United at home in January, really well, came back from 3-1 down and 2-0 down, lost. Spirited bullshit. You can't win games or get points from spirit and fight, of which they did show today, but at the end they've been undone by 96 minutes apiece. And I can't account for it. Positives are, hopefully he goes now, but I haven't seen anything. I'm yet to see a John Percy notification on Liam Keane one to say that he is going. He has got to be sacked. I don't have any ill will towards him, but how anyone can watch us and think that he is still the right manager to bring us forward into these 5, 6, 7, 8 games now that are going to define Wolves this season. If they give them to Gary O'Neill and he doesn't get 12 to 15 points from the next 7, 8 games, we're gone. We're finished. And no decent manager will want to touch this with a barge pole. It's a critical situation now. I know everyone says, how could you go into today? Everyone knew we'd lose. I know, we all thought that. I knew we'd lose. But I wanted him gone after Villa. I wanted him gone after Brentford. It's unsustainable. You cannot have this record as a manager in the Premier League and keep your job. He went back to the back 5 today, but he's done that 5 games too late to save him, in my opinion. He hasn't, he's come out in his press conference and he's gone whatever about the decision. But at the end of the day, you can't legislate for it. It's 1 point from 8 games. The games have been rank rotten. They have, honestly. It's been so unlucky for him. It's been so unlucky for the team. But this is the situation we've been dealt, probably because we spoke out against VAR. Let's face it. But the fixtures have been horrible. But now, I'm sorry for him, but he's got to go. He's got to go move on. The plus side, I feel like we've got a great striker in Strand Larson. Good goal, hold the plate, ran himself into the ground, exceptional. Defended really well today. Santi Bueno I thought was very, very good, which is a welcome addition to the squad. Hopefully he's going to come in and stay in that team now. But apart from that, like, it was really good defensive display and a little threat on the counter in the second half. But my God, just another heartbreaking way to lose a game. Wolves seem to be coming up with them these days. 4 losses on the spin at home this season. 3 of them by a single goal, but that's all you have to lose by. They've been unlucky. They've been desperately unlucky. But, you know, at the end of the day, 1 point from 8 games, things are happening. Freaky things are happening. Wolves have let 7 centre-backs score against them in the last 5 games. 7. Come on. And they sacked the set-piece coach last week after Brentford. Fat lot of good that did today. Oh, come on now. I want Gary O'Neill gone tonight. But I have done for weeks, so this is not reactionary. They've got to move now. Otherwise, it'll be too late. And Wolves will be gone. Like, even when Lopetegui came in, there were only 4 points inside the relegation zone. This time, we're already 8 points behind Leicester, who we need to be finishing above. Because it'll be Ipswich, Southampton, in my opinion, and 1 more. And that should be Leicester. And we're 8 points behind them. Needs to go. They need to make a change fast, because it's getting unattainable for Wolves. Final score, Wolves 1, Manchester City 2.
So, Wolves 1, Man City 2. I don't really know where to start, to be honest. Just heartbreaking in the end. Just really hard to take from kind of the last 10 minutes on, really. But starting off with the starting lineup, I thought we all knew that it was going to be a back 5. I think that was evidence. It was always going to happen, and against this Man City side, we needed to. It was mandatory. Starting with the 3 centre backs we have fit and available at the moment, and you know what? I thought throughout the whole game, I thought defensively, our defensive line was so good. I thought we'd done really well. There was times where the midfield 3 that we had was just kind of too defensive at times, and we got too deep. But I think apart from that, I thought we'd done so well, keeping them out, and I thought our first goal was just so simple. I think out wide, I think it was maybe Bueno out wide to Semedo, and there's just a perfectly timed ball in. I think that's what we need from Semedo, that more offensive output. He doesn't offer that much, but I thought he'd done so well with that, and Larson will never have an easy finish, to be honest. Such just an open goal, easy finish. We go 1-0 ahead, but the pressure that was putting on, I could just see him scoring at any time. And it came from Guardiola. I thought, you know, we kept him well from limiting them to shots outside the box, but when you're left back scoring a right-footed curler like that, you just got to applaud it. Absolutely no chance of saving that. And then in the end, it was just in that second half. Really, we barely had many chances. I know Cunha had the chance, but apart from that, that was really it. And yeah, it was just getting deeper and deeper, and it was difficult to take. And then obviously they score in literally the last minutes of the game. Again, controversial. I didn't see much of the VAR. I couldn't see the screen much, so I can't really comment on that too much, whether it was offside or not. But you could see it coming. There was putting the pressure on, piling the pressure on, and it's difficult to take. I thought we played well at times, but I think we were just too defensive at points in that game. But I think overall there's positives to take from it. Brighton the next game, so we'll see what happens.